Okay, let's start this thing. All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's currently just after 1:30 in the afternoon on a Monday, June 29th. But you're going to hear this probably a week after that because that's how production works, folks. All right, let's tell some stories. Let's tell some stories because that is how culture and tradition are passed on is through stories, right? Yeah. Anyway, I heard something like that. Okay, so where do I begin? Oh man, I don't really have that many interesting stories to tell. Well, that's why we gotta ham things up, you know. That's why you gotta make it interesting. Okay, so let's talk about. Oh, let's go all the way back to the beginning when I was first learning how to drive. So okay, yes, all right, let's see. What's the very first car that I actually operated on my own? Ooh, uh, I think that would have to be my dad's old car, which was a was it? It was a Pontiac Vibe. It was a 2005 Pontiac Vibe. With a mad exhaust leak. Can I add, dude? That thing, yo, that thing got an exhaust leak like halfway through its life of ownership, if I remember correctly. And that thing sounded like I mean obviously what was I like 12 at the time or something. That thing sounded yeah, what, I don't even remember what year it was. It was a while ago. But yeah, dude, that thing got like, I don't know how it got a leak. Like I don't know if it cracked or if it just fell apart, like it just got like so rusty to the point that it was just grew a hole. But yeah, that thing sounded weird, dude. It was like, I mean, what was it, a 1.8 liter four cylinder from like Toyota or something like that. Yeah, that was like the loudest car I heard at that point, and it was what was it, 5 speed, um, yeah, 1.8 liter. So, uh, yeah, man, my dad had fun in that thing. Yeah, the three of us, the boys, the three of us, myself, my dad, and my brother, we'd all pile into that thing. I say pile in like as if it was hard to do. It was a four door with enough room for four. Sorry guys, I gotta sneeze 1 second. I just got duped. Oh, I just got duped. Okay, you know that thing? Oh, jeez, you know that thing when you sneeze and like you're about to sneeze but you don't, and you're left with that stupid look on your face. You're like, you got like tears in your eyes, and you got like, your nose gets all like weird as if you just. Anyway, stupid nose. Yeah, so back to the car story. Yeah, we like piled into that thing, and yeah, we just goofed around, man. It was those were good times. uh, yo, I remember one time. This is a really I don't know why, but I used to draw this thing when I was a kid called Lil Robot. I don't know if anybody remembers it. I think if there's like one or two people who might know what I'm talking about when I say or what, yeah, about Lil Robot. I used to have the, okay, I'm like going back, I'm keep going back, but I'm gonna circle back to this story eventually. But yeah, I used to have a lot of weird like trademark quote unquote drawings. Um, I used to draw this one thing uh, through school where I forget, I can't really describe what it was, but it ended up I didn't know at the time, obviously, because I was just a kid and I was drawing it everywhere. I draw it on if I had like schoolwork and there's any empty like blank space, I draw it, my little trademark drawings there. Anyway, so yeah, what oh yeah, that's what it was. It was like the guy like peeking over like a table or something. Like you'd have like the three little, he'd have his like fingers and he'd like be poking his nose over, and you'd see like half his face. I'm pretty sure everyone kind of gets the idea of what that drawing is. But yeah, I used to draw that everywhere. I don't know why. I don't know where. I don't know if I ever saw it somewhere or if I just got bored and just kind of thought of it. But apparently, I don't know what it. I don't know what it represents, but yeah, I saw it like years later, and I'm like, and I discovered like the meaning of it or whatever. And I don't know, apparently I could be totally wrong here. Oh, I just spit on my phone. That's gross. I could be totally wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it was like a yeah, I don't okay, for some reason yeah, I'm definitely wrong on this, but for some reason what comes to mind is apparently that drawing represents some sort of uh like weird brand or like a secret society or something, like some weird like I don't even know what you call it, group, I guess. Um, yeah, I don't know. And then once I figured that out, I was like, oh, maybe I should stop drawing it on all my schoolwork and all my like basically everywhere that has a blank space that's allowed to be vandalized. Yeah, yeah, I don't remember when I stopped drawing it, but I was like, maybe it's a good thing if people don't think I'm part of like a weird cult or something. Yeah, so that went to an end real quick. But also, so that was one of my drawings that I just left everywhere. Another thing was okay, so every time I write my name on like the top of a piece of paper, like you have your school paper on the top left or right corner, you got the, write your name and everything. And in that line, unlike a normal person, I don't know why I couldn't just be a normal person. But yeah, unlike a normal person would do, instead of just, writing their name on the line that says name, uh, I would do this weird thing where so my name, what I'd normally write is Michael. That would be what I'd write. But what I'd do is I'd write Mikey, but then the little like tail on the Y, the little, the little fish hook thing. Oh, sorry about that. The little fish. I just had a bloody nose like 10 minutes ago. What are you gonna do? That wasn't 10 minutes ago. It was like an hour ago. So yeah, I'd take the little hook end on the Y and I'd like make like a big smiley face, like the cartoon, like with the teeth, like with 100 teeth, and then for the dot for the I, I'd make it an I. That sounds confusing. I would make it into an eyeball, I guess. That sounds really strange, but that's what I did. And then above the E, I'd have another eyeball. So, you kind of get in the picture, right? So it ended up being a face, like a big smiley face. And I don't know why, but that kind of caught on. And other kids started doing it when they would write my name. Instead of just writing my name, make that uh, as my name, I guess. Like if we're doing like a group project, they'd instead of you'd have your normal names, you'd have Frankie, you'd have Jillian, you'd have Alex, and then my little stupid thing with the face on it. So yeah, that was kind of fun. By the way, those three names I've never had in any of my classes, in any of my schools or classes or group projects for that matter. So I'm not outing anybody on this one. Snitches get stitches, fam. Yeah, so anyway, Little Robot, that was the other one that I can remember right now. So yeah, those are the big three, I guess. But yeah, Little Robot. Wow, went on a tangent there. Okay, so Little Robot. I used to draw this guy everywhere, and the idea was, he's this cute little robot thing with these little claw hands, and he'd always be waving at you. So yeah, that was the gist of that drawing. And what I did was the one day, it was I don't remember if it was a hot day or a cold day. Anyway, there's like this little rear quarter window, like like in the back of like a wagon or SUV or hatchback, you'd have that window behind the passenger door windows, I guess. This one happened to be pretty small. It was like maybe like you could. I mean, I have pretty small hands, and I could probably go end to end with just my one hand. So. So yeah, on that window I just drew on the inside. It had condensation on it. Ooh, that's a big word. Condensation. It had condensation on it, so it had it was nice and wet. It's moist. And yeah, so oh gosh, this could go anyway. So yes, I drew that little thing on it. The little robot guy, and under it I wrote Little Robot. And I was just messing around as a kid, so I just drawing stuff on water, I guess. a week later or so, I get back in the car. Dad's driving us somewhere, and my dad eventually, like, he gets out of the car and he looks at the window and he's like, "What is this?" And me being the forgetful person that I am, I was like, "What is what?" And he's like, "There's a drawing here," and I was like, "A drawing?" And then that's when I remembered. I was like, "Oh shoot, I drew something on there. I hope it wasn't something, uh, you know, inappropriate." So he looks at it and I look at it and I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out because obviously I drew it inside, so it was kind of, I guess it was backwards. So I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, what is Tobor Lil? And I'm like, oh. And then I told him, I was like, oh, I drew that like a long time ago. And then he's like, oh, okay, well, and I don't remember if he got mad or something because, yeah, I don't remember if he got mad at me or not. But anyway, he ended up just not, like, it was on the inside of the window, and I'm pretty sure all you would have had to do was clean it off. But he never ended up doing that. And nobody else ever did. So we just kind of forgot about it. So for however long we owned that car, the entire time there was a drawing of Lil Robot on that back window. I think up to the point that he sold it. Did he sell it or what happened to it? Did he trade? Oh yeah, that's right. He traded it in. Traded it in. Wow, that's a weird tongue twister. Yeah, until he traded. Oh my goodness. This is like the uncut version of what happens when I film a video and I can't say a word. Anyway, he traded it in for the car that he has now, and I'm pretty sure unless the guy cleans it off, or unless whoever the dealer or whatever cleaned it off, it's probably still there. Not gonna lie, because I still remember the very last few days of our time with the car, our last days with the Pontiac Vibe. It was still on there, so yeah, that's kind of fun. Anyway, left my mark on the world, so I don't need to strive for anything anymore. No, so yeah, so that was the very first car related story I can think of. Actually, no, that's not true. What am I saying? I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. Just trying to spew words out of my mouth. No, one of the very first car memories that I have is of oh yeah. Okay, so well, in our rewind a few years back to our old house where we used to live. My dad used to own this Ford Taurus wagon. It was like I don't remember what year it was specifically. I assume it was around the year like late 90s or early 2000s or something, because that's when we moved to Canada. Maple syrup land. Sorry. Am I hitting all the stereotypes? Oh, that was a hockey slap shot in case you didn't get that. Hockey night in Canada. Something like that. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so he had a Ford Taurus wagon, and that was the only car that we had for a while because my mom didn't work. She was taking care of us kids at home, and my dad worked, so he had the car and anyway, I don't need to go into more detail. Anyway, so he had the car, and every now and then he'd drop us off to school if he could. So I remember one time. Ooh, anyway, sorry, I just burped there. I remember one time he was dropping us off to school, and I think it was just us three, so me, my dad, and my brother. Either that or it was just us two. But anyway, for some reason, one day, one of the doors on the car either wouldn't close or the latch was broken or something. Anyway, it wouldn't close, basically. Normally you just pull the door and close and it stays shut, but you'd hit it and literally it just wouldn't latch, basically. So you'd pull it to close it, and then it'd just bounce off, basically. And I think maybe he was going to get it fixed that day, which is why he could drop us off. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making this up in my head. But the story is basically, how many times have I said basically? The story is we went. yeah, so we were on our way to school, and we didn't live that far from our school, from our elementary school. We were maybe like a 10-minute walk or something. And so all my dad had to do was drive for, I don't know, maybe a couple minutes, and he just had to make one right turn, and then and then he'd just drop us off at the front of the school, and I could just walk to the entrance. So yeah, when he took that one right turn, I think I was in the back, uh, left passenger seat. Yeah, that would make sense, because that's when the door would open. Yeah, because that's where I sit all the time. Yeah, I don't. Okay, let me pause the story there for a second and talk about something else because I get distracted easily. Do y'all have like a preferred seat? Like if you have siblings, if you're an only child, I don't even want to don't even anyway. But if you have siblings, one or more, what am I? Yeah, duh. If you have one or more, or no, sorry, I should say, or no, you can have more than anyway. If you have siblings, gosh, I'm so distracted. If you have siblings, do you have a preferred seat in the car? Like obviously you're traditionally whatever. Your dad's gonna be driving, your mom's gonna be sitting in the passenger seat, or vice versa, whatever. For me, my dad was driving like 95% of the time. But yeah, so dad sits in the front and the driver's seat, mom sits in the passenger seat. I would sit in the left side behind my dad, and then my brother would sit on the right side behind my mom. And we never really like talked about it until years later, when we became sentient, um, when we grew minds of our own instead of being mindless children, when we stopped going to events for free. Yeah, we that was just kind of how we sat, and we never really talked about it, but that was like the spoken rule, is that if there's both of us, actually even if there wasn't it, we'd always sit in our preferred seats. And up till until to this day, if I'm sitting in the back, I will automatically go for the door behind the driver's seat. Uh, Even if there's someone already there, or not like sitting in there, but if there's somebody that's already going for that door, I'll like I don't know what happened there. I'll like subconsciously just try and beat them to the door so I can sit there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure everyone has their preferred sitting seat. Actually, my boy, one of my friends, he also had that with his sister, and he, thank goodness, takes the right side, because we ride all the time together, or we at least we used to, and then well we did, and then uh, like whenever we hung out with more than like four, yeah, with four people or more, um, and we'd be in the back seat. Thankfully, it wouldn't clash, because if he wanted to sit in the left side, I think we'd have to like duel it out, or we'd have to like come up with an agreement to like take turns or whatever. So glad that worked out. We're still friends. We can still associate with each other because we choose to take opposite sides of the rear seat. Anyway, that brings me back to the hanging on for dear life story. That's what I'm going to call this story. So yeah, he take that turn. Uh, I'm literally, okay, so I never wore seatbelts, by the way, for the longest time, up until I was maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to say how old, but just in case. But actually, well, I don't know, whatever. I don't know how the law works. But yeah, so up until I was older than I should have been, I never wore seatbelts. For some reason, I don't know. It felt restricting, blah blah blah. I don't know. I was stupid. Okay, wear your seatbelts, kids and adults. If you're an adult and you sit in the front seat regularly and you don't wear your seatbelt, I don't know anyone who does that, but that's just ridiculous. Like, come on. First of all, how do you do that? How do you deal with the beeping? Because obviously these days, if you don't buckle your seatbelt, your car's gonna beep at you like you just I don't know, like a broken robot or something. That was a terrible analogy. Yeah, how do you deal with that? First of all, do you try to shut it off? And okay, if you do what's even worse than not wearing your seatbelt and just letting the beeping go, and you not caring about it, if you can do that, fine, whatever, that's your life. But if you do the stupid thing where you buckle the seatbelt but behind you just to stop the beeping or whatever, just do it in front of you. How is that even? I don't get. How is that even comfortable to sit in a seat with like a strap going behind you, and it doesn't like sit flat to the seat, just on its own. Like you have to, you'd be leaning on it, right? so you'd feel it behind you. I don't like, just wear it in front of you. If you're gonna buckle it anyway, just to get rid of the noise, just wear it in front of you, because I don't know, maybe it'll save your life. You know, maybe that's the difference between you. You wouldn't fly out the windshield. The chances of you flying out the windshield are super low. But even worse, maybe smacking your head on the windshield, and breaking your entire front half of your skeletal structure. Yeah, maybe that's a good enough reason to wear your seatbelt instead of buckling it. I don't know. Whatever. It's your life. All I can say is airbags work in tandem with seatbelts. So yeah, don't even try to give me or anyone else the argument that, oh, the airbag will save me. It's a cushion of air. Trust me, I have had an airbag go off in my face, and it was not fun. I had my seatbelt on, which is what actually saved me, mind you. But yeah, the airbag went off, and it wasn't fun. It was really dusty too. Anyway, that's another story for another time. However, yeah. So this is like a, I love how the original story I was talking about was like a 30-second story, and I've made it like 7 minutes. Anyway, so yeah, so we take that turn. I'd be sitting in the back, no seatbelt. My dad's like, you know what? I don't know how old I was, but I was elementary school age before. I must have been in like grade 1, because we moved out here when I was in grade 2. So, wow. Okay, yeah, never mind. I thought I was in like grade 4, but no, my brother was like in grade 4. So no, I was in grade 1. So first grade. How old would I have been? 6 maybe, 5 or 6. Because you start kindergarten at age 4, I think. Junior kindergarten at age 4, maybe. Yeah. So I was probably about 5 or 6. Sitting in the back seat, no seatbelt, and this door right beside me, as we're turning, which I could easily fly out of, was slowly opening. So my dad just told me, he's like, just grab the handle, pull it towards you, and hold on to something, so you don't fly out the window, or out the door. So that's what I did. I just grab it and pull it towards me, and I forget what I was hanging on to, but I was hanging on to like the seat or something. And obviously, I'm 5 or 6 years old. I'm a tiny little human thing, just sack of meat. So I'm hanging on to like this little thing, and I'm like, my butt is like on the edge of the seat, and I'm like holding on to this door. I feel like I'm Atlas. I don't know if you know Atlas, but he's the guy that holds up the world in Greek mythology. Is it Greek mythology or some other mythology? Anyway, but yeah, I felt like I was like the supporter of the world at that point. I felt pretty good about myself. But yeah, I remember looking out, and I could see like the road just whizzing by. And I'm like, my face could be on that right now, but the strength of my will is holding my life together right now. So yeah, that was a good time. Gosh, I don't remember what actually happened. I just remember looking out the door, like the opening. I could see the road going by as I'm like trying to like yank this thing closed. Oh yeah. Oh, good times. That's what you need. That's what you need. Crap. Well, I wouldn't say it was a crap car. It was a good car. But that's what you need, like janky stuff in your life for. If you have everything going perfect for you, you're not an interesting person. Life isn't interesting. Okay. You gotta have some challenges in your life. You gotta have some rough stuff going on to make life interesting, and then you can tell stories like I am for 7 minutes, extending them to massive lengths. Anyway, let's close it off with another story. Just a quick one. Oh yeah, let me tell you another one. One time, this isn't the story I'm gonna close off on, so I just lied to you. I'm sorry. So one time, my dad got pulled over, and by a cop, obviously. Just got pulled over by a civilian. Hey, you shouldn't be driving that car there. No, yeah, he got pulled over by a cop, and we were on the side of the road. And just as we were about to leave, my dad either accidentally drives into his rear end, or he backs up into the police car. I don't know what happened. I remember them telling me this story multiple times, but apparently that happened. And oh man, I don't know. I don't think I was in the car at the time, but man, could you imagine that feeling of just like, whatever. I just I either got a ticket or I just got a warning or whatever. He's back into this guy's car. Imagine the guy's face when he turns around. He just hears like the little thunk. He's like, "Huh?" Like if he's walking up to his car, or if he's sitting in the car and he just looks up and he's like starts shaking his head like, all right, we're gonna have some stuff, more things to discuss here. I was gonna let you go, but now that you just, now that you touched my car, we're gonna have some issues, you and I. Step out, son. Throws him a baton and is like, we're gonna go, we're gonna go at it, right here on the street. We don't need to solve this in the court of law. We can solve this on the streets. I don't know. Maybe that's what the cops around here are like. I'm just kidding. In case there's any cops listening from where I am. You're not like that. I know you're not like that. Okay. One more quick story. Before I do, I'm gonna take a swig of water. Oh, okay. One more quick story. What story do I tell? Let's see. I don't know. I don't really have that many interesting stories. Clearly. Oh, first car. Okay, so the first car I drove was my dad's car, the Vibe. Okay, let's finish it off with that story real quick. So yeah, the first car that I drove was my dad's car, the Pontiac Vibe, 5-speed, 05 I think it was. And we just, we take it up and down the driveway because I don't think I was old enough to actually, I wasn't old enough to get on the road yet. So I think this was like when I was 15 or something. So yeah, I was just going up and down the driveway, getting used to, getting into first and going into reverse and the whole setting off thing. Because obviously when you learn a stick shift in a car, if you don't know, the hardest thing for most people is just starting to move, because that's where you need to have the whole finesse thing. And then from there, it's just pedal and handwork, basically. I mean, it is all the time, but, just in a simpler form. Anyway, so yeah, that was the first car that I drove. We go up and down, and we'd actually, in order to get into second, because, if you get into first, then it's fine. But if you got to learn how to also shift up, right? So in our backyard, we have a fairly large backyard, large enough anyway to drive a car around, because that's what we did to get into second and stuff. So I remember I'd be going like, I don't know, like 20 or 25 or something in first gear, just in the grass, headed for like the property line, or just headed for like a field or a tree or something. And my dad would just be like, okay, now shift to the second. And I'd like panic, and I'd press in the clutch as hard as I could. I'd slam that thing down, and I'd just take the shifter, I'd yank that thing back down into second, and I'd just try and swerve at the last second. That's the best way to learn how to do anything, is under stress. That's how I learned how to ride my bike. If you ever talk to my parents, especially my mom, because she was the one who taught us how to ride bikes. If you ever ask her about that story, she'll probably laugh, because that was probably like the most stressful time in life for me as a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old, was to learn how to ride a bike. I'd be like crying on the seat, and like, cause I'd fall. Obviously, you fall the first couple times or whatever. If your parents aren't there to catch you. So yeah, I fell a few times, but we had gear on or whatever, so I was fine. But yeah, I fell a few times, but it was just that terror of like, oh, the ground is coming up to my face. That terrified me as a child. So yeah, that was fun. That's how I learned how to ride bikes. I think that's how I learned to do most things, is under complete and total stress. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna close it off there. That's the end of today's podcast. Yeah, thanks for listening. I will see you another time. Have fun. Take care. Goodbye.